Hello everyone, welcome back again to a new video. Said that I would make a video about the PlayStation Vita where I make a review. Yes, I know, it has been over a year when I said that. I guess I was too busy playing with the PlayStation Vita. It's a really great handheld. It's basically like an improved version of the PlayStation Portable, also known as the PSP, in almost everything. It has the touch screen. This time it has two dual analogs here, and the touch is great. And it has PlayStation trophies this time, unlike the PSP. And it also has a USB. It's one of those charger USBs like the Samsung phones, or at least the second model. And also, it basically feels like a portable PlayStation 3 in my hand. It's also backwards compatible with the digital PlayStation Portable games and the PS1 games on the PSN, and it's basically like a great handheld. It's also cross-buy with many PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 games, so you really get a cheap price when you buy one of them for the game. While it has also lots of awesome games like Gravity Rush, Persona 4 Golden. Well, I haven't bought Persona 4 Golden yet, but I heard it's great. And there are many great games on the Vita. I already started collecting many games here. Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, Dragon's Crown, Hot Shots Golf, Little Divines, Lumine's Electronic Symphony, Metal Gear Collection, Resistance Burning Skies, and Uncharted Golden Abyss. And these are only the physical games. There are still more, but I have on the memory card. Speaking of which, the memory card right here. This is my biggest problem with the memory card. It's extremely expensive. As you can see, it is extremely expensive. Sorry, mind my finger, I have no idea what this is. As you can see, it's visible. Now this is the PlayStation Vita memory card. Unlike many handhelds and mobiles, it uses its own memory card. And the problem with that isn't that its own memory card. They're extremely expensive. Seriously. Like I bought this for 350 Egyptian pounds. If you're wondering whether that's cheap or not, I'll let you know something. With this price, I can buy maybe 3 or 4 16 gigabyte memory cards, normal memory cards for phones. And this is the 4 gigabyte version. There's also 16 8 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, 32, and maybe 64, but the 64 one is only in Japan, I think. But basically, if you're planning to get the 32, you'll pay almost half of the Vita, the price of the Vita. Now, and the problem with me is that I got the 4 gigabyte version. It was the only one available at the store right now, and I didn't really have much money. And yeah, but it was the only one available anyway. And now, if you want my advice, get the 8 gigabyte version at least, or maybe the better 16 gigabyte version, because you'll probably get digital games mostly, because the Vita physical games aren't that common. And so basically, if you bought the 8 gigabyte version, it will be filled a lot. And the problem with the 4 gigabyte version, it will also be filled a lot. But not only that, sometimes certain games like the God of War collection and the God Eater game will be about 3 gigabyte at least. So basically, it will almost be as if you only must have 1 or 2 games on the memory card if you're gonna download these games. And not only that, certain games like Killzone Mercenary are about 5 gigabyte, so you can't download them on 4 gigabyte memory card. Well, I think maybe Killzone Mercenary is about maybe 3 gigabyte, but you need to download patches to make it 5. But anyway, that's not the point. Well, while the Vita is kind of dying right now, especially when how Sony said they're gonna end support for it, but I think it's great. There are many great developers indies that are still supporting the handheld, like NIS America, Atlas, and Square Enix. These are the AAA developers. They always make great games for the Vita. And there's also the indie developers that make awesome games, like Super Meat Boy, Crypt of the Necrodancer, all of which are awesome. And there are certain games that even so the Vita's dying, there are many games that are not only better on the Vita, or some of which are exclusive to the Vita, like the Uncharted Golden Abyss, which I have. Uncharted Golden Abyss is only on the Vita, you can't get it anywhere else. And Resistance Burning Skies 2 in Killzone, which I have as well. Killzone Mercenary as well also, but I don't have that game yet. Persona 4 Golden, while it's basically like a remake of a PlayStation 2 game, but it's still like only on the Vita, the remake, which I heard is also great. So basically, if you're also a Japanese, if you're also into JRPGs, you're gonna love it. There are many great JRPGs on the Vita, some of which are either exclusive to it or better on it. And in my opinion, JRPGs are great, better on handhelds, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, I think maybe the Vita is becoming rare and dying, but I think now it's the best time to get it. You can also cross-play with some certain PlayStation games. And not only that, there's also remote play for the PlayStation 4. It's right here. It's basically a lot different. But if you're wondering also why it's not, it doesn't have the ability to play physical PlayStation portable games, it's because of how they look. The physical Vita games look different than the PSP. For example, here, as you can see, this is a PlayStation portable game called Medieval Resurrection. Look, they use UMD cards. Now let's look at the Vita version, Vita game. The Vita uses something like the DS games and the 3DS, PlayStation cards. Notice how the difference, so you can't add both, but that's okay really, because most of the PlayStation portable games are on the PlayStation Store and they're backwards compatible, so you can play them normally. Well, and some games aren't on the PlayStation Store, some PlayStation portable games I mean, but they have gotten remastered on other consoles, like God Eater for example. The better version is the PlayStation Vita version. And the best part is that it also has the USB charger that's on many phones, something that the PlayStation portable like. Do keep in mind that this is only on the second model. The first model of the Vita uses its own charger, which is why I recommend you to get the PlayStation Vita version, the second model at least. And anyway, if you want my opinion, yes, this is the best time to get the PlayStation Vita. It's an awesome handheld, has many great games, and it's even better if you have a PlayStation Vita, if you have a PlayStation Vita but never had a PlayStation Portable. And while there aren't many much PlayStation 2 remasters on it, but the PlayStation 2 games are always awesome, and some of which are on it, like the God of War, Ratchet and Clank, and the Metal Gear Solid series. I have only God of War and the Jak and Daxter, but they're all digital. and I also have the Metal Gear Solid HD collection. It's missing the PlayStation portable version because Konami said it's already there, so no need to do it. Anyway, it's a great handheld, and it also has well, it does have touch screen. It also has a raised touchpad on the back. The back of it is used as a touch screen, so it's basically it's funny really because of how it only has one screen but two places to play with fingers on touch, while the 3DS has two screens but only one of them is touch screen. So yeah, I recommend the Vita a lot, and it's great. Maybe the only problem is the memory cards, because of the 4 GB is the only one I have right now. It cost me a lot, but I need to get the 16. So basically they're expensive. If you need to download a picture of your mom, you're gonna need this 32 GB, which is over half the price of a Vita, almost the price of a Vita maybe. But yeah, no, otherwise I do recommend. Anyways guys, thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you do, please like and subscribe, and I will post more content about Vita and other gaming consoles and handhelds.